This video is made possible by a grant from the Educational Video Fund of Esperanto, USA. For more information, check out the link in the video description below. Hi there. Today we're addressing a big problem. I caught a friend of mine making this mistake a couple days ago, and it was her birthday, so I cut her some slack, but I did say I'm going to address this in my next lesson. She didn't see the problem in what she was doing, and so I was having trouble putting it into words, and I thought, well, examples are actually the most useful way that I could show you how they differ. So I'm going to share with you an example of the same sentence done the way she was doing it and the way it should be done, and maybe you'll spot the difference. Chu versus se. Look at these two sentences that in English would probably be worded this way. Mi kontrolos chu li dormas, mi kontrolos se li dormas. In English, both of those would probably make their way into English. In Esperanto, those would be translated in English probably as, I will check if he is sleeping. But is there a difference between them? Yes, there is. And in English, the same wording can express two very different scenarios. Context, tone of voice can help with that. But in Esperanto, you actually have to use a different word than just if in both cases. I will check if he is sleeping. Well, the first one, I will check to see whether or not he is sleeping. The second one, I will check as long as he is sleeping. The first scenario is like a mom trying to get kids off to school. You see if your brother's still awake. You go check and see if he's sleeping. Yes, I will check if he is sleeping. The second one is like two prisoners trying to escape from a jail cell. And hey, go jiggle the bars. Check and see how loose the window bars are. And maybe we can break out that way. Well, yeah, but what about the guard? Okay, look. I will check if he is sleeping. As long as the guard is sleeping, then I'll go check, because if he catches me trying to escape, oh, it's over. You see how different those are? They're not interchangeable wordings. So if you remember nothing from this video, this is all you need to know. It's just this one thing. After a comma, the word chu should be replaced in your mind with whether or not. And the word se should be replaced with as long as. Let's dig deeper with se. Se means as long as. Other phrasings that you could shove in there are on the condition that. You could also say only if. So I will check only if he is sleeping. I will check on the condition that he is sleeping. I will check as long as he is sleeping. You see how they're all similar there in their saying basically an if-then statement or an if-then formula. If you're a computer programmer, you're familiar with these. If this value is, 216, then change this value to 1/2 of the original in some computer program. If the following is true, then do this. The same thing happens here. Se is usually a part of one of those. Se li dormas, mi kontrolos. If he is sleeping, I will check. If he goes, or if he is going, then I am going. And note something here. Tiam, you can use that to say at that time, or in that scenario, I will go. If he is going, tiam mi iras. You could say something like that if you really had to specify. Usually the word then is just an understood then. I was at NOSC a couple years ago, and I remember being in a conversation with someone and then going, oh, snap, I don't know how to say the word then. Like, I'll do this, then you do that. So I went downstairs and started knocking on doors, and I don't know if I woke up Ellen or Ruth or one of the people. I woke up, and she was like, what do you need? How do I say then? Well, it depends on the situation. Are you saying if then, or are you saying I'll do it, then you do it? So me first, then you, that would be poste. But if you're saying if this, then this, you'd probably say tiam, or at that time you'll do it. So it's not really a one-to-one translation. But note that you don't need to say then or shove a then word in there. Se li dormas mi kontrolos. Se li dormas tiam mi kontrolos. So if-then formulas, that's where you'd use se. Another place to be on the lookout or go, I think se belongs here, is when you see the US ending at the end of a verb. I made a whole video on the US ending and how it works. It's sort of the theoretical side of verbs. If I were to do this, then I would do that. I'm not saying I am and I am. I'm not saying I will and I will. I'm saying if I were, then I would, which sort of takes place outside of time. If I were to have done this in the past, then I would have done that in the past. Or if I were to do this in the future, I would then have done that in the past. You can use it all sorts of time travel in that. For the US, use SE. So for us, use SE. For US, USESE. That helps you remember it. So if you have a US phrase, you almost definitely are going to have se in there. Se li irus, mi irus. If he were to go, I would go. Mi acetus, se li vendus. I would buy if he would sell. So you see, if you have a US verb, you almost always have them in pairs. If I were to do something, then you would do something as well. So you see the US verbs in pairs and almost always connected with a se in there. Note this, se phrases are easily rearranged or swappable. I already did that here. The original is mi controlos se li dormas, but I swapped it here to se li dormas mi controlos. And it almost sounds more natural when I shove the se in the beginning of it. That's usually where it belongs. It sounds, if he does it, I will do it, or I will do it if he does it. No problem there, right? Everything sounds hunky-dory and normal. It won't be with the other kind, though. So that's se. Now let's look at chu, and what chu after a comma means. Now, we already know that chu is often the word that we use to start a yes or no question. Mi amas vin, I love you. Chu mi amas vin? Do I love you? Sticking the word chu in there indicates a question, a yes or no question. And so I could say, mi amas vin, chu ne? I love you, do I not? Don't I? So that's one form of chu. So usually if you see chu at the beginning of a sentence, it's beginning a question, and you'll see a question mark at the end of it. But if you see it in the middle of a sentence somewhere, it usually means the word whether, or whether or not. The or not is sort of indicated sometimes, just like the word then is sort of indicated. Chu indicates questions, uncertainty, as well as answers and clarity. It's usually trying to determine something or announce that decision finally. Yes or no, whether or not. Chu usually follows ascertaining or announcing verbs like pondered, asked, doubted, decided, confessed. Li konfesis chu li mortigis shin. He confessed whether or not he killed her. You could say, oh, he confessed if he killed her or not. In English, you could say that, but you don't say that here. You say chu. Never would you have se in there. Li konfesis chu li mortigis shin. And you could say, mi dubas chu li mortigis shin. I doubt whether or not he killed him. It's something that you have a doubt between the two options. This is only for yes or no, true or false sort of, questions here. So if you have a verb like this, you're almost always going to be dealing with a chu phrase, or as I like to call them, a chewy phrase. And here's why I like to call it a chewy phrase. Because with these, if you rearrange the phrases, you'll end up sounding like Yoda, which means, yep, you are dealing with a chewy phrase, like Chewbacca. So if we had rearranged the first one, we showed the se version, front and back, forward and backwards, sounded totally normal. If this, then this. Then this, if this, all that is fine. Here, if we swap it, it sounds really funky in English. Chu li dormas mi controlos. It sounds like you're saying, whether or not he is sleeping, I will check. Okay, whether or not he is sleeping, I will check? No one says that. No one words it like that. Now you could, and maybe in a poem to get a rhyme in there you might, but by and large you wouldn't say, chu li dormas mi controlos, if he is sleeping I will check, or, oh, whether he is coming I want to know. What? No, you would say, I want to know whether he's coming. I doubt whether he's coming. I'm pondering whether he's coming. I'm announcing whether or not he's coming. You always lead with that. That's just the natural way to do it. So if you see a phrase that begins with one of these sort of ascertaining or announcing verbs, I decided whether or not he's coming, then you're almost definitely going to be using the chu there, okay? Chu li dormas mi controlos, no, just let it be mi controlos, chu li dormas. That's it. Now, let me give you some sample sentences to see if this is all clicking with you or not. Let's put you to the test here. Let's do a little quiz. Mis si volas blank li venos. What do you think that is? I am curious. And is my curiosity dependent on him coming? If he comes, then suddenly, poof, I'm going to become curious? That's probably not the situation. And it would have to be that situation for you to use se here, because the answer is mis si volas chu li venos. I am curious as to whether or not he will come. So that one is chu. And that verb gives it away. It's an ascertaining verb. Next, we have mi manjos blank li koiros ion. I will eat blank, he will cook something. Well, note here that we have a word that is not ascertaining or announcing in any way. It's eating, and that's probably dependent on something. You have to have food available to eat it. You have to maybe buy food to eat it. There's a lot of ways that an if phrase, an if then, could be there. And note this, like I said about the US ending, how they always come in pairs. If I were to do this, you would do this. Well, if you notice the verbs in both kind of matching each other, I will eat if he will do that, then is a good chance that they're conditionally dependent on each other. So, I will eat as long as he will cook something. That sounds pretty natural. So, yeah, we're going to put se there. Mi manjos se li kuiros ion. Next up, mi irus blank she irus. The US ending, I'm not even going to pause to think here. I just know, shove the word se in there. I theoretically would do this if theoretically this happened. Next, mi annoncis blank ili gainis. I announced blank they won. Okay, well, is annonci an announcing or ascertaining verb? It sure is. So I announced chu ili gainis, whether or not they won. Next we have mi dubas blank gi mortis. I doubt blank it died. Okay, if it died, suddenly I'm full of doubt? No, my ascertaining, my announcing is almost never predicated or conditionally based on some other action out there. So it is what? Mi dubas chu gi mortis au ne. Chu au ne gi mortis, whether or not it died. And here's a little phrase to help encapsulate all this in your brain. You never say se to make se or ne, but you do use chu if it's false or true. Pellet with the poisons and the vessel with the pestle. The chalice from the palace is the brew that is true, or true that is brew. The pellet with the paisley and the pestle and the posel. No, enough court jester references for one day. You never say se to make a se or ne. So if you're trying to determine something, like, oh, I wonder if he did it or not. If you think or not, or if or not fits in there somewhere, you are not dealing with a se phrase. So if or not belongs or is indicated, it's chu, okay? So se or ne, no, but you do say chu. If it's false or true, use chu. Let that also guide you. Please don't make this mistake. It vexes my righteous soul, and I hope now it'll vex yours. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful day.